Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the best 15 brawlers since the update. If you guys have missed it, there's been so many balance changes, like 77 balance changes, 6 new buffied brawlers, each with a ton of broken abilities. And a lot of the nerfs that came out didn't actually do all too much to the meta brawlers. But yeah, a lot of this can obviously change. But this is just my general feeling after playing and watching some scrims as well. So starting off, I'm going to be doing like from 15 to 6, just kind of putting them all together. Most of these are pretty much S tier as well, and then doing a top 5 because I think top 5 is pretty obvious. Starting off with Mortis, so I still think Mortis can be a top 15 brawler in the game. Might be on the edge of like S tier or A tier, but Mortis is still very good because he got a few nerfs, but I don't think the nerfs were enough, mainly because his gadget can still deal a lot of damage. I still think the biggest problem now with Mortis is his extension to his hypercharge. Now with the hypercharge buffy, you're just able to chain your bats way too easily. I also think a star power buffy is very, very strong as well. He's still a menace in the meta, but just not as problematic as some of the top meta brawlers. The next brawler who I think is easily still a meta brawler and probably is an S tier brawler still in my opinion, it is Crow. So I was actually looking forward to the Crow rework, but then they kind of fell back on that because of community backlash, which again, I kind of understand because it changed a lot about Crow, just how fundamentally he was as a brawler, right? Then they tried a different take. They tried, okay, so let's take some power out of his poison. They nerfed his poison duration. They nerfed his reload to be quite heavily. You can actually feel it quite well, so a big credit to them for that. But they then buffed the damage of his main attack dagger by about 30%, I believe, which doesn't seem like a lot because it's low in just actual numbers. But it's it feels like he just rips through those aggro brawlers now. So he's still very problematic in my opinion. They were way too nice with the nerfs. I mean, you might think I think it was 3 nerfs and a buff. Well, he's surely going to get weaker. No, he doesn't feel weaker in my opinion whatsoever. He's still very good into a lot of different brawlers. So yeah, I'm just hoping Pro one day is not S tier. The next brawler who I think is just scraping onto the top 15, it is Otis. So the reason why Otis feels a little bit worse for wear is because all of these new buffy brawlers are just really, really impactful in the game, and Otis is starting to be a bit slower in terms of the picks. When these brawlers are in play, yeah, Otis just feels kind of meh, to be honest, but he still has his use cases. I think, again, like in pro play, Otis will still be pretty used because there's a lot of bans in pro play. I still think he can hold his own. He's still got some decent range as well, but he might slowly be getting power creeps. Next brawler who I believe is easily a top 15 brawler in the game, top 10, and maybe scraping the top 5, it is Meg. So Meg, you guys have guessed it, her buffies are insanely strong. So let's talk about both of her gadgets. Both her gadgets are insane. So a gadget buff you definitely want with Meg because you got one gadget, both of them being reworked. So one of them is like area healing. So you can push up, like I faced off against a comp, I think it was on stream. It was like Glober, Meg, and then another brawler that just clumps together. And we had no damage. We couldn't do anything against that composition. It was completely cooked. I think I even had a Crow, and I still struggled to counter that composition. So that gadget's good. And then you got a toolbox that can just fly out of Meg Super, and then you regain that super in 4 seconds, which is good. You've also got the star power. I think it's the star power, which heals you with your slash, and you get an ammo back, which is pretty insane. And then you got the hypercharge buffy, which is just absolutely bonkers. And she gets hypercharged so fast. She cycled through super way too fast now. Meg is so strong. The next brawler who I think is easily top 15 has to be Bolt. So Bolt did receive a few nerfs to his damage. They then buffed his super damage, I believe. They nerfed his star power, which makes him immune to CC for 4 seconds, nerfed that to 1 second, and a few other tweaks as well. But I don't think that fixed the main problem with Bolt. He still has an abundance of health. He still gets super quite easily just by rolling around the map. And it's just how fast he ramps up with his speed just makes him such a problematic brawler. So yeah, Bolt is a big problem, especially paired with Kit. He's very strong in every single game mode, it feels like. Yes, he can be countered, you know, like Surge with his super or any type of knockback brawler, but he can create a lot of space. So still look out for Bolt. He's very good. The next brawler who I believe is still top 15 has to be Pierce. So I think Pierce is at the lower end here, and he's kind of scraping onto the top 15. Again, another one of these brawlers that might feel a bit better once there's just more bans in play. You'll probably see Pierce played a lot more in Masters because a lot of the hackers go Pierce as well. But I still think Pierce is a very strong brawler in his own right because his slow function on his last shot is still very overpowered. He can deal a lot of damage. He can chain. He's got a really good hypercharge. His super is easy to hit as well. and any long range map, you know, Pierce is going to be very, very dominant on. So yeah, as long as you're not playing him, more than likely, as long as like it's a big ass, but you want Damien banned, you probably want Mortis and Kit banned, or even Edgar. You want some of these assassins banned, and then Pierce can really shine. So yeah, still think it's very good. The next brawler who I think is easily top 15 inside of the game right now, it is Lumi. So again, another brawler that just kind of got tickled with the nerfs. Yes, I like the nerf direction with Lumi. I like that they tried to tackle the gadget, and it definitely feels less toxic, but it's still a gadget which is going to give you a lot of just a lot of map control. So I feel like once Lumi gets her buffies, I got a big inclination that they're just going to rework this. I hope so anyway, because it's just such a broken gadget. So you got this broken gadget with Lumi, right? They still didn't nerf anything about, you know, she has quite a lot of health now with all the recent buffs. But the main problem is definitely the fact that her super is just such a free kill onto most brawlers. But it's just how fast her projectile is now. It's kind of gone on the other side. It's one of these brawlers which feels pretty impossible to balance, to be fair to Supercell. You know, she's either terrible or insanely strong. There's hardly ever a moment where Lumi is balanced. But yeah, she's very powerful and still easily S tier. So Colette is the next brawler which is easily on the edge of top 5. It's still even after the nerf. So this is a brawler that I predicted straight away when I saw the balance changes. People are very quick to write off brawlers when they've received nerfs, for whatever reason. Because a lot of the time, a lot of these top meta brawlers are still good. You know, eventually they will fall down the meta, but Colette is still going to be very strong. So the reason being is because Na'A didn't get changed fundamentally. Yes, it got a big cooldown nerf, but they didn't change the duration of the hypnotize. I thought they would have put this to 0.5 seconds. 1 second still feels like too much. It can still shoot through a wall, and her push it stop power is still very strong. Mass attacks got nerfed, but push it didn't get nerfed, which is still like a free double hit onto brawlers. Her hypercharge paired with push it is very broken as well. It's still Colette at the end of the day. She's still such a great tank counter. Assassins can sometimes get a better chance to take her down because the gadget cooldown was such a big nerf, but it's still Colette. I think she's easily an S tier brawler. Still on the top 15 list, but probably scraping at the bottom of the top 15, it is Edgar. So Edgar received a few nerfs, one with his star power buffy, so he gains less of his healing when he kills somebody. He also got a bigger cooldown with his Let's Fly gadget, and his hypercharge rate was nerfed as well. But I still think as a last pick brawler, you've got to be careful of an Edgar. Like, for example, you can't just blindly pick Pierce or Niger or maybe another brawler like that you can't really pick Edgar into. Biggest problem is like if Surge is too dominant or Meg or a few of these brawlers, it might be a bit harder for Edgar to make those plays, but I still think with a hypercharge, with a gadget, Edgar still feels pretty powerful to me. And the last brawler before we go into the top 5 is Brock. This was very, very clear that Brock was going to be a great brawler with his buffies. You've guessed it, pretty much all of the buffy brawlers are going to be in the top 15. That's just a standard, right? But with Brock, there's a couple of reasons as to why. Both his gadgets feel really strong. Rocket Laces can get a double knockback. His Rocket Fuel gadget is completely broken. I don't know what happened there. So with this gadget, you not only break through a wall. When you break through a wall, these extra rockets come out, and then you also knock back a brawler as well. I just don't understand that concept. You move over to his star power buffies. Both of them are pretty strong, and you've got the long range snipe is actually really good because every 4 seconds you get that long range snipe. So I'm really liking that one. And then you got his super rework, which I think it is a buff. I think it's very strong. It's going to take a little while to get used to how to use it because it's still quite easy to maneuver out of a Brock super. Maybe overrated that a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. And then you got the hypercharge buffy, which just feels insane. So Brock is going to be one of the best brawlers in knockout, bounty, and heist. And then he's actually usable as a later pick or a synergy pick in other game modes as well. So do look out for Brock. Very, very good with buffies. So now I'm going to be moving on to your top 5 brawlers in the game right now. And I feel like there's not much debate about any of these. Starting off at number 5 with Star Nova. So Star Nova is easily one of the most underrated brawlers inside of the game right now. She already was pretty much top 5 in and around there before these buffs, and she was buffed. She got an increased health buff, which was quite substantial to what I think is 8k now, which is just, I don't know why they buffed that. Then you've got the super damage, which I kind of agree with because it wasn't the best, but I don't think these buffs were needed. Her hypercharge isn't yet released. It might be released at the time I'm recording this. I don't know, we'll see. But even without the hypercharge, she's very, very effective. And the reason why Star Nova is so good, sometimes the opponents can limit you. She has got a big limitation with her range, but all you need is one little hiccup, you know, one of your teammates to create a bit of space. Star Nova gets in range and it's over because you could just rip through people so quickly, and you just auto aim it, right? Like it's just literally no way that you miss the main attack. And then her super allows her to be versatile, you know, it allows her to latch onto brawlers that might not have like a knockback. For example, I played Star Nova today. People was using box. Well, I've got an abundance health. I can, you know, outrange Meeple at most point. Well, not outrange, but fight Meeple. Once I get into his range, I should be able to kill him anyway with my main attack. But then I can also use my super to then target him easily, you know, throwers as well. And then you've got her gadget with the one that flies around. That's really good defensively against assassins or other brawlers that can counter. So yeah, Star Nova completely slept on, easily top 5. So now jumping into the 4th best brawler in the game right now, I've gone with Max. So I will say there's a little bit of an asterisk because Max feels pretty bugged right now. I don't know what's causing a bug and exactly how it works, but basically sometimes with your hypercharge or your super, you end up going slower with Max. I think it's when you're with your respawn bubble. I don't know, but yeah, sometimes that can impact her. But anyways, with Max, I still think even with his bug, she's a top 5 brawler in the game. It's insane. So starting off with her gadget buffies. So I still need to try out the other gadget. I don't even know what it's called. The one that it's got reworked where you can return, you know, gain additional health. I think that can have its use cases, but I think phase shifter will always be the better one because you get 2 invincibility frames. 2. That's insane. You get 2 uses. I can't believe they added that. And it's got a short cooldown as well, so that's insane. And then moving on to the star power buffies, both of them are very powerful. I see the pros are actually using I think it's the supercharge, I don't know what it's called, second star power, that gives you and your teammates shield. That's one the pros are using because you get a shield for 4 seconds. If you hit more shots, it increases your super duration, and you get a 25% shield reduction for you and your teammates. So it makes a really good synergy. Running gun's probably going to be better when you're playing more of a solo max on longer range maps and you want to be aggressive. And then you got the hyper buffy as well as the hypercharged super. It's just completely broken. I mean, you're just flying through supers. It's also the fact as well, Max got a buff where literally her trait is you move and you get your super. So just like the second star power used to be. So all of these things combined just makes Max such a broken brawler. So now moving into the 3rd best brawler inside of the game right now. The top 3 shouldn't be up for debate. It is going to be 8-bit. So 8-bit is absolutely cracked. He's insane. So the good thing about 8-bit in a way that at least he can counter him somewhat because he does have his weaknesses. But at the same time, there's a lot of broken things about him. So let's go through them. So you've got the one gadget that you can teleport back to your turret and you can heal yourself and a turret, which is pretty good, especially on like gem grab or a kind of more defensive 8-bit situation. And then you've got extra credits, which just seems completely and utterly broken because it bounces onto teammates nearby. It's just crazy. And then you got both star power buffies, which are very, very strong as well. Boosted Booster is by far the better option, but the other one's still good. Boosted Booster, of course, gives you an insane damage boost. And then with a buffy, you're getting an ammo pack every, 3 seconds it drops. Sometimes it's not in the best of places, but if you play a bit more aggressively, you can just abuse this. And so many brawlers have unlimited ammo if you're just camping around it. I'm kind of waiting for some strategies that are untouched here. Like people keep saying, try out Tick with it, for example, or Thrower, or a brawler that takes a long time to reload. Like Piper, imagine that's gonna be very toxic in combination. So that's broken. His hype charge buffy is broken. Everything about 8-bit just seems utterly broken. He's just so hard to counter. Second best brawler in the game might actually be a bit of a surprise to you guys. It is currently Surge. So Surge is insane. So you might think he's number 1, but we'll go into that in a little bit later on. But Surge is completely broken. And it's for quite a few reasons. His buffy is obviously a big reason, but actually just one of his star power reworks is a big reason as well, but we'll go into that. So starting off with his gadget buffies. His gadget buffies are very good. I'm kind of yet to try out Power Surge, one that gives you increased reload speed, etc. That is pretty good, but Power Shield is going to be better overall because all you need to do is get hit by a projectile. Like you can even use it against a projectile, but it's like a crow shot or a back shot. And then you get your ammo back and you reduce the cooldown of that gadget by 50%. So if you get hit, you get another power shield in 9 seconds time. That's just completely broken. And then you go over to his star power buffies. You got to the max, the one that splits. It's a very powerful but quite risky. Serve Ice Cold is the better one at the moment, guys, because you get your super upon respawn. People are thinking, oh, why is that even good? Why would you do that? Why? Like, a lot of people were reluctant on it. And after hearing it first time, I maybe was a little bit as well. But it's broken. The reason why it's so good is because imagine a map like Pinball Dreams or Triple Dribble, or a map where predominantly, Surge won't be good against like a thrower or another brawler like that. Well, Surge has his super on respawn. Yes, he's a bit slower, but he also got buffed in his first stage movement speed. Well, he could just jump over the wall, pop gadget, and kill so many brawlers in the game now. He has his super for free. Hello, how is that not broken? And then you've also got assassins. Well, normally against the Surge, even with his power shield gadget, you could probably still beat a Surge because you know it takes 3 shots to get his super. As a Mortis, as an Edgar, you could probably take down a Surge, but no, you can't anymore with Service Gold because he's got super and knockback upon respawn. And then don't get me started on Surge's gadget, Hypercharge buffy. It's just completely broken. Yes, his second shot deals less damage, but it's just so many shots that go off. And then paired with his power shield gadget, I just run out of words for how stupidly broken this brawler is. Now jumping into the best brawler in the game, and I think it's hands down at the moment, it is Damien. So you're probably thinking, well, Damien received some nerfs. How is he the best brawler in the game? Well, I don't know whether this is intentional at the time of recording. I haven't got clarification from the dev team, but it could be literally intended because there's quite a few features that have been intended, you know, like Max's trait or a few other things that weren't really included in the patch notes. So it could be one with Damien. I'd be surprised if it isn't a bug though. But anyways, with Damien, now his unload speed, especially when you're comboing, you can shoot like your second ammo and third ammo literally instantly. I was actually wondering, I was like, I've played a game, I know I was using 8-bit, but Damien was wrecking me, and I was like, okay, let me try him in a training cave. And like, he was just he could just combo so quickly and just destroy everybody now. Like, the biggest weakness to Damien is that he had to wait a little while to unload his shots, because by the time he unloaded, you've probably got another high DPS brawler, I don't know, like a Chester or an Otis or someone, or a Nita even, that can take down Damien before he can unload all of his attacks or his knockback, his second knockback that he gains. So yeah, this just makes Damien completely broken. This just allows him to chain through super so quickly. All you need is your first super. So just get your first super through receiving damage or sneaking up onto an opponent, and then just cycle through your supers like crazy. He is done broken, guys. If you watched my stream earlier today, I recommend watching it because I was crashing out by how broken he is because of a bug or, I don't know, an unintended buff. Either way, it needs to be removed. It's completely and utterly broken. So yeah, after all these buffies, the hilarious thing is Damien is still #1. Yeah, this is very frustrating, but that's going to be it for my top 15. Again, at the time of me releasing this video, it is my birthday currently, so I wouldn't be playing Brawl Stars on my birthday, of course, but I thought with the update, I just had to pre-record this video after playing the game all day, and it's a very solid list. But tier list will be coming out probably tomorrow or the next day, definitely within 2 days after this video, so look forward to that, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.